not just students, but also vice chancellors and their schools and governors can register on this website, their students, and we match them with universities across the UK on the courses that they want to study and match the funding. So in order for the students to register and for them to work with us, they have to register on our website to register their needs, the type of study that they want to do. Say, for example, if you want to study English or you want to study medicine or accounting or business studies. And then we then match you with a funding and also which university you might be attending. You might have several university give you a match for the type of course you want, and the price might vary, and you can then select the amount that is affordable to yourself. So that's one way. Another way is for students when they're applying, because we've got a lot of inboxes that we hold student quizzes, and we have our social media platforms, and we have a lot of inboxes from students applying for funding. So we, from time to time, for those students who are already in the UK, and not just in the UK, across Africa, we give funding to students to help them graduate. For example, we had a student called Aaron, and his family had sold their house in order for him to come and study in the UK from Nigeria. But his family and friends had also saved and borrowed and begged in order to raise this money for his education. But due to the huge fall in Naira, he still was short of about £2,000. So we, on his behalf, went on to fundraise for him, and we were able to, within 3 weeks that he was given to raise these funds, otherwise he was told he was not allowed to graduate, we were able to raise that funds. And we had the pleasure of meeting him, and on the day that he graduated, straight after he graduated, and him coming to thank us. Last week, we got a inbox from a student in Uganda who also was facing a similar dilemma, although his one was a few days away, although we managed to raise the funds for that student. We do encourage students to study in their home countries, and of course that sometimes students want to study in the United Kingdom, or they want to study abroad. And it is important before a student goes to study abroad that they weigh the how much they're going to spend on flights, accommodation, and feeding, and various amounts of monies that they're going to need whilst they're in the UK. Universities in the UK give a variety of scholarships. Some of those scholarships do include monies for travel and monies for visa, and also monies for expenses whilst you're in the UK. But as the saying goes, in life, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So it's always best to sit down and calculate and plan exactly what course you want to do, how much it's going to cost, how much your accommodation is going to cost, the flights and the visas. And once you get an offer from the universities that you want, you can always negotiate, because universities have what is called a hardship fund, where students are able to apply for that hardship fund that is given by the British government for overseas students. Then if that money is not enough, the university themselves have their own pot that they've put aside for overseas students to top up. Um, when you are filling those application forms for these hardship funds and for scholarships, it's important that they might say you need to write a 2,000 word of why you want that scholarship. And it's important to stick to that 2,000 words and not to go over it. Otherwise, that might disqualify you from getting that scholarship. It's also important to do your research on each of the scholarships. You can, apart from my site, you can Google on the various universities. They have an overseas site on their university site where they advertise for the scholarships that they have. Each universities have scholarships for asylum seekers or for disabled students and also refugees. And then they have scholarships for exceptional students. And this can range from if you're exceptional in certain subjects such as science, English, maths, etc., and you've scored high. In order to access those funds, you need to also get good references. When I applied for university, um, I was told I qualified for a scholarship, and I got somebody to write me a reference. 3 times when I got the same two people, because normally it's two people that they want a reference from, to apply, even though it was basically guaranteed that I had that scholarship. I didn't get given that offer, and I was rather surprised because I'm more than qualified according to the dean of that school. So I then discovered something, that it is important when you're writing, um, when you're applying for scholarships and places at universities, to get a reference of people you know that like you and have confidence in you and that will write you a very good reference. Because too often we often assume that somebody who's a family or friend or who's a pastor or somebody who's familiar to us will write us a good reference. And too often you find that this might be one of the major things, that you might have the grades that they want. You might qualify in every way for a scholarship or for a grant, but having the right person write that reference for you ends up being the reason why you did not get that scholarship in that place at the university that you wanted. So far, is there any questions?
Questions will come at the end of the session. So when you are done.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so there's also, when you're applying as well, to study in the UK, there are specialist websites for accommodation as well. That if you apply early, like if you're applying now, for the next intake, which is around May, then you can get a discount of at least 45% on your accommodation, or on a site called Albany, and that is spelled Albany. I repeat, Albany. So with these websites, you'll find a range of accommodations that are for students, and you can pay a deposit. But that deposit, should you not take up the offer or for any reason you no longer wish to have that accommodation, they fully refund you 100%, which is one of the good things in regards to that website, Albany. Okay, it's good to when you're because the United Kingdom is quite big, you often find where there's cheaper universities and better scholarships is in places like Wales and Scotland and Ireland. Those places normally are less. They give better scholarships, one, but also cheaper places to live in rather than in London. When you live in London, you face high fees, and not just fees, travel expenses, because you have to commute, and traveling in London and living in London generally is extremely expensive, especially if you're a student. There is discounts when you're a student. You get discount cards which get you discounted travel, discounted probably food in restaurants. It's called an NUS card. With the NUS card, it is important to get, because it also helps you to open a bank account. And with opening a bank account, you get various offers and discounts. So getting an NUS card is very, very important, because you find not getting it, you'll regret, because you lose out on a lot of things that you could save on, especially getting books. Sometimes books that you need on courses in the UK are not necessarily found in the library, that you were required to buy them. And I know when I was studying, even as a British student, I spent quite a lot of money buying books in the UK. But going back to some of the things that the funds and grants that are given on the scholarships includes funding for books and various equipment that you might need on your course while studying in the UK. Okay, when you're studying in the UK, also it is important to check the duration of the courses, and whether you'll be able to budget and meet those financial constraints in the UK. Because sometimes people think, yes, I might have a scholarship, but when you begin to do your numbers, and I keep repeating doing your numbers, you'll find that it might not be actually economical for you to study in the UK, or you might need to speak to the universities. A lot of times, the universities, as I keep repeating, are very accommodating, especially for students, and see how they can, especially if you're a gifted students, they will see how they can accommodate your financial needs. But that is what my platform is there for, in order to assist. And we have sponsors. I'll speak a bit for in regards to those who are interested in sponsoring Educate. Educate, as I said, for those who've newly joined, is a platform where I'm one of the directors, and where we sponsor students and give students grants both in the UK and also outside of the UK, like we recently did for a student in Uganda. If you want to sponsor, we have either monthly sponsorship, where you can pay a small amount monthly, a standing order, a direct debit of, it can be £5 to £10 a month, and that will go a long way to support students. Numbers add. Or if you want to sponsor as a company, we offer various corporate sponsorship, and that can be inboxed to me, and I can talk people through that sponsorship. Most of the time, when you sponsor such initiatives, a charity, as you know, as a company, it's tax free. And you're giving back. So we would place your company names on all our websites and our information, and when we do events, etc., and on our TV programs that we do, etc., and would also occasionally have you on some of our events that we do online, like on Twitter page, a Twitter talk. We're about to host an event in April in London, which will be our first event that we're hosting in London, in Birmingham, with the three universities. for those who are interested in coming and seeing what we're about and how we can help you as a student, and also if those who are interested in sponsoring students, how you can get involved as a sponsor on our platform, or just for those people who have some sort of initiative that they want to collaborate with our organization that is relating to education. Douglas, I think I'll take questions at this point.
Very well. Mansoura, are you in?
Yes, sir. Okay. Miss Mercy, please, I want to ask, what are some ideas to make money in a short time? Let's say some ideas to make money in a short time as a student abroad.
Okay, some of the ideas to make money, a lot of times the universities, they have a job center place where you can go to as a student, and they advertise jobs both internally and externally. Some of those jobs, like I did a job as a reader helping a blind person to read, which was well paid. Other external jobs that most students do could range from joining agencies, working either in post office, cleaning jobs, it can be McDonald's or fast food chains. So those are mostly these students. Most students do, or working in a sports shops or some sort of retail shop, because you're only allowed to work a certain number of hours when you're a student in the UK.
Okay, so do you recommend, let's say, online trading like forex as a student?
I wouldn't to extent, because I know my son did it, and that's why I wouldn't. He made a lot of money with his friends, and they also lost a lot of money. So I think if you're trying to, especially as a foreign student, make money, I would say try something that is more secure. But actually, on thinking secondly, I do have a friend who does train students, and he told me testimonials where he's helped a lot of students make a lot of money in a responsible way through trading. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we open the comment section for questions. Please, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or you can leave them in the comment section below and we'll read it out. So please, any question?
I think Mr. Kofi is wanting to ask a question.
Yeah, hello.
Good evening, Mr. Kofi.
Good evening. Good evening, madam. Please, my question is, uh, there are jobs in UK which requires working experience, and as a student who is coming in UK for uh, this uh, uh, plan how to raise money, and he doesn't have any working experience, how is he going to cope with the system, the the raising of money, since the job that the person has to find requires a working experience.
Okay,
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
if
times, I think
my
if I
question is
understand your
clear.
question correctly, A lot of times, companies in the UK train students, and this is part of the scholarships that some organizations give, where you work partly with that company as they're training you and as you're studying. So it's like an internship, and that way they train you. So they do have a lot of various ways in the UK to train young people, and they do welcome students to come and learn.
Okay. Yusuf, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Okay, thank you very much. Merci for the presentation and also your efforts towards assisting students in getting scholarship. But basically, what I want to understand is, does your assistance only in UK or in other countries?
As I mentioned before, good evening, Mr. Yusuf. You're welcome. As I mentioned before, our scholarships are in funding. We help students from across Africa, not just in the UK.
No, what I mean, the assistance you render, is it only for students in UK or in other countries apart from Africa?
You mean in the Caribbean as well?
Yes, let's say like China or in the Asia.
Not at the moment, because at the moment our focus is on Africa. But if you're an African student in China, we could possibly have that discussion if you're originally from Africa.
Yeah, basically that is my question.
Yes,
You are an
so that,
African, you're an
yes.
African, and then maybe you're studying in other countries apart from UK. It's like more of your focus is in UK.
No. If you
Okay.
recall, I said that we helped a student in Uganda who was, and he was never studying in the UK.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're most welcome.
Okay, Madam Mercy. Okay, so
There's
Alf
some
also.
more questions.
Yeah, I also want to ask, but let me allow Alf to go ahead. Alf, you can unmute yourself and go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you for, shall we say, concisely putting a lot of information and a lot of years of experience into a very short time period. What you're saying is very helpful and very vast. So thank you very much for doing that. And thank you for the dedication that you have with your team to actually help others to achieve a certain level of education, especially in foreign lands. I have probably about 3 questions, but I'll try and keep them short.
Okay.
Number one, you said, I mean, the previous speaker, following on from him, he was saying something about foreign students. Now, if you have, okay, situation number one, foreign students from Africa in European university, I say European specifically, European university sponsored by the government. However, her second year is not, it seems not to be covered, and she's looking for funding. What she should do? If you've got any ideas, I'm not expecting to have all the answers. Please.
Okay.
I'm just grateful for the fact that somebody has got the experience and can help. So thank you very much for that. Situation number 2, foreign student from Africa started the degree in medicine in the Ukraine. And obviously with the Ukraine war, managed to escape more or less unscathed, is trying to carry on their degree in medicine as a medical doctor. Do you have any advice? And number three, which is probably something which you have, is probably, is there a crib sheet that you've put together that you've got all the numbers, contact details, so that you know, people can be directed to say, look, this is the information that we've concisely put together. Go to these websites, find out about this before you contact us. So at least you've got a heads up on what to do. Thank you very much again, and bless you for all that you're doing. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Alf. Is it Alf?
Yes, Alf.
Yes, good evening. So thank you very much for those questions. So first for your question in regards to a foreign student from Africa in their second year and it's not being covered, I do help students, which will now connect to your second question, who've approached me over the years in different countries and I've assisted them. So it would depend on which country that student is. And the best way they can be assisted is through the consul from their original country. There's somebody from their consul that can help, and they normally give funding for the students. So if that answers your question, that's that one. And but there's also fundings within the country, so that's why I said it would have been good to have known which country. Then, in regards to medical students who've fled Ukraine, I had two students about 4 years ago who came to me. Coincidentally, they didn't know each other at the exact same time, and they'd fled Ukraine and gone somewhere else, and from that somewhere else to a camp, they went to Germany, and they started studying in Germany, which offered them the course. I suggested for them to go to Germany because it offered them for them to continue their studies, but it was on the basis that they had to learn the language. So they had to do 1 year of German classes. They stayed with their host family, which was part of a scheme that that they do in Germany, and they worked part-time whilst they were studying, which kind of answers questions people are asking regarding to working and studying at the same time as an overseas student. So they then were able to now start their medical degrees fully funded by the German government. There are other countries also, somebody mentioned, such as the Caribbean, which offer full scholarships for medical students, by the way. There are quite a few countries across Europe that offers full scholarships. So it's something I do help students myself on such advice. So you're free to ask David for my contact in regards to getting that information from myself. Educate also, we have a website which is launching this week, I believe it's tomorrow, and you'll be able to put in questions there and we can answer. We work alongside the British Council and all the universities across the United Kingdom.
Thank you very much, Madam Mercy. So I also have question I will want to ask. Thank you for your presentation. DDLF is also carrying same project across, but that is in the US, and we call it college planning. College planning in the sense that we sit with the student, we try to understand which course they reading here, their GPA, what really do they want to do when they get to the US? Do you want to study and work? Because we know there are some jobs that are in demand. And so there are certain courses that you need to read, which can enable you to secure a job whilst you are schooling. We also take them through student loan. We take them through accommodation and the rest. Now, the question I want to ask is the scholarship in the UK or the institutions that you work with, what is their qualification in terms of grade or the GPA for them to qualify for scholarship, or it is open? Because in the case of what we are doing, if your GPA is below 3%, you cannot get scholarship, but we can get you a university to attend, which we call the HBUC universities, the historical Black community universities. We can get those universities for you to, yes, to attend. But if your GPA is beyond 3.0 and above, we can help you to secure a scholarship. Is it the same case in the UK?
Yes, it certainly is the same case. Thank you, Douglas, for that question. Yes, it's certainly the same question in the UK. So it's the same procedure in the UK. As I mentioned before, when I was going through the various scholarships that are on offer in the UK, that there's especially scholarship for gifted and talented students. They're not only just for in regards to academia. There's also scholarships according to sports, music and art, creative arts. You get scholarships in universities in the UK based on that, and you certainly do get the same in the US. In the US, it's more, I believe, for university where it comes to sports, getting scholarships at university based on sports. I do actually work alongside some universities in the UK, and I have partners, sorry, in the US, and I have partners in the US who offer scholarships, 100% scholarships to students. Some is from disadvantaged backgrounds, and some is also who are top students, and some is scholarships based on students having to go back to their respective home countries and give back for 2 years. That is the way that the guidelines, the way that they've outlined their rules of their scholarships for that particular organization.
Thank you very much. My second question is this. Do you support students with student loan? And if you do, what are the requirements? If a student, if I apply for a scholarship and I'm schooling based on scholarship and I needed student loan, is your organization in position to do that? And what are the requirements for a student to be able to do that?
Okay, as I mentioned, thank you for the question, David. As I mentioned, our platform is to try not to get students into debt, to alleviate that. Our platform, the idea is to actually give grants, give sponsorships, and be a mediator with universities to ensure that that students do not get into debt. So we rather try to deter that, but if they need loans, we can mediate with the university, because we're more of a mediator than a platform that gives loans. We, as I say, we give scholarships and grants.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes,
Okay.
because
So I
we
think I got it. So the organization gave the scholarship direct. It is not that you fall on other organizations to source for the scholarship for this student, but your organization directly give this scholarship to the student based on their qualification.
We do both. We give scholarships to students, and funding is more like the funding like we gave for the two students that I've mentioned. That we give that, but we also work alongside the universities, because when you log on to our website, you'll see that you have a student's profile. They'll get their own profile that will be linked to different institutions across the UK. They can see the student and they put in their details, and it's sort of like a computer database that it's taken us over a year and a half to build this. So it is very well done so that the student will be able to get a match for their funding and what exactly they need. So maybe the student might have half of the money that they need for their studies and they only need the other 50%. And so when the universities see that, they can then match with that student and say, we're offering you a place on that basis. I see quite a few hands up. I don't know if
Yes,
that answers
yes.
the
So I need
question.
to allow them also to ask their question. I will come back. Okay, Mansoura, you are our MC, so you don't need to. Magdan, Mansoura, we will take your question before Magdan. Can you unmute yourself, Mansoura?
Okay. Please, does universities play a role in supporting international students with fundraising?
No, not as far as I know, but this is what exactly our platform does, educate. We assist students in fundraising, but there are external platforms that do, like GoFundMe. There's quite a few if you Google for students that do fundraising. Like our student for Uganda, they fundraise through an external fundraising platform, and we then matched what was outstanding for them in order to ensure that they graduate.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So Magdan, you can unmute yourself. Go ahead with your question, after which we will take Sawa.
Okay, thank you very much, David. My question is, I want to ask, is there any age limit or age range for the scholarship?
Not
Neither.
really. To an extent, I think for the much older student, there is. I only know that as a politician that I worked in for the Minister of Education, and I know that when it came to students above the age of, I believe, 60, which I believe from the sound of your voice that you are not, that there is funding, but there won't be funding for those above the age of 60. That's even including UK university students. But below there's not. It's according to the courses. And if you're an exceptional student, you're more likely for the universities to make a leanway to have you.
Right. So, Mark, I believe this answers your question. After Mark, we take in Sawa. Mark, do you still have any question or you are okay? All right. So, Sawa, can you unmute yourself and go ahead with your question?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much for the knowledge and information you've shared this evening. So my question is, what about students, foreign students or African students in Sweden? Do you know of any like scholarship or grants available for us?
Not that I know of in Sweden, but normally I know that Sweden is one of the countries, and with Germany, that normally has good scholarships and even free education there for the people in Sweden. So I'd need to do a little bit more homework for you.
Thank you very much. Sawa, I believe that answers
Okay,
your question.
thank you.
So,
You're
Okay,
welcome.
yeah, and I hope we'll be able to get your contact so that we can follow up with you later.
Yes, yes, you may.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's
all
all.
right.
Thank
So,
you.
from Sawa, we will take Fosu. Fosu, can you unmute yourself and go ahead with your question?
All right, thank you very much for the presentation. Madam, I want to know, are the scholarship opportunities available limited to specific programs or they are general?
No, they're general. As I because I think you were not here at the beginning. You have a wide range of scholarships, and I think I didn't even go through all of them. You have scholarships for disabled students. You have scholarships for refugees. You have scholarships for asylum seekers. You have scholarships for talented and specialist subjects. You have scholarships for creative industries, and such as those who are musicians, sports people, artists, etc. So there's a wide range of scholarships out there, and over the years, having assisted a lot of overseas students, a lot of these scholarships go untouched, because I think a lot of people don't realize they are there and that they exist. You'll find them on the university's websites. There's a scholarship place on each university that you go to for international students, and it's important to look at what qualifies you for that scholarship and what the requirements, and that you meet the requirements before you apply. And you can even make a call, because sometimes you find a lot of English universities that they're very friendly and very helpful, especially the international team. A lot of times you'll find the international team who are people who were international students before, who are now on the working there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fosu, I believe that has answered your question, or do you have any question, a follow-up question?
Absolutely. That's it.
Thank you very much. So from Fosu, we'll go ahead to take Ajubi. Ajubi, can you unmute yourself to ask your question, please?
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. So my question is, I would like to know, or like get more information on the students that were from Ukraine, who are currently in Germany and trying to study medicine. Because I found myself in the same situation, but then I wasn't really able to go further because of, some hindrances. So I would really like to get more information about this, and if it's possible that I can also register for it.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I believe you're from Ghana.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Okay, these two actually, one was from Nigeria and the other one was from Ghana.
Okay.
And it was through the Ghanaian consul that they were able to assist, because coincidentally the consul, also his own son was in the same position, had been studying medicine in Ukraine and had to move to Germany. So if you get in touch with the consul, and they should be able to assist you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
All right, Alf, can you unmute yourself to go ahead with your question, after which we'll take Sharon.
Okay, thanks very much. It just brought to mind, for UK students who have been outside the country for a number of years, or haven't lived in the UK continuously for 3 years, but of African descent. I'm sure you can see where I'm coming from.
Yes.
What I mean, I was one of those students back in the 80s, 80s, 90s, and I had to do 3 years of, laboring work and stuff like that before actually going back into university. What is the current situation? Because it seems that once you're outside of the UK, in places like in the Far East, like China, India, and stuff like that, and you've been out for more than 3 years with your education, because one of your parents is out there. Do you know what the current situation is in reintegrating and getting back into the educational lifestyle at university level, tertiary level? Is there any
Um,
assistance you can give?
I wouldn't know, because I would think automatically you'd still be classified as a British citizen, and things should still hold as a British citizen, because I know a lot of my colleagues take their children out of the country for some time for whatever reason, and then the children come back for university. But I would find out. My colleague is a specialist in this area, and revert back via Douglas.
Okay, that would be great, because I know personally I was out of the country for more than 13 years, something like that. And I know someone again whose child has been out of the country for 8 years and is being considered, even though they're British citizens, born in the UK, or born in Europe, either or. They are being considered as foreign students and therefore have to pay foreign fees. So if you could revert back to me, that would be absolutely great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will do so.
Right. All right. Thank you very much, Alf. Sharon, can you please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question? I want to apologize. I've locked the platform and I think I've taken everything off, and people are not able to send message. We've got message that somebody was trying to send message. I have opened it, so anybody who want to type in the chat box, you are free to do that. Go ahead, put your questions there. If you are not able to ask your questions directly, you can put them in the chat box and we will read it to Madam Mercy to answer it for you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so my question is,
just before she goes, David, next week then we can try and do a question and answer, because there's a question and answer aspect as well, so that the questions will come up for both you and the presenter, so that
Thank you very much.
Can be typed in, and we can either type in the answers or give the answers directly. Sorry, please carry on.
Thank you very much. All right, Sharon, can we hear you?
so my question is, let's say you're still in the university level 300 and you applied for school in Canada and you get admission, you had the money to pay, but you use the money for an emergency. Do that person qualifies for a scholarship?
As I say to you, they qualify on the basis on if you have the grades, and if you qualify under any of the areas and categories I've specified, whether it's you have high grades in a certain subject. So that's what would qualify you for these scholarships. And even from our own perspective on our platform, when we help students out, these are some of the things that we assess, is whether if you had an emergency or something happened that made you now be unable to afford to pay those school fees. So that's where we step in.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome.
All right, so we're grateful for everybody for this time. Madam Mercy, I want to ask my final question. I don't know if it has been answered already, but I want to ask. So, does your scholarship cut across master's degree, like people from the senior high schools here in Africa? That's how we call it, senior high schools. People doing their first degree and masters. Does it cut across?
Yes, it cuts across from foundation courses. Recently, some students from Nigeria have been offered foundation courses at a university here. And you have masters, we have postgrad. So there's a wide range of scholarships. And that's why I said it's taken a year for a year and a half to build our website, because it's so complex when you look at the various degrees and universities and type of funding a student needs. And not just the funding, also accommodations that will be assisting with people, and assisting in visa application, assisting in post-study to help students get internships in companies in the UK.
Thank you very much. We will go ahead to take Godfred, who is the the president of the DDLF chapter at the University of Ghana. Godfred, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, please, boss. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yes, so please, I have two questions to ask. My first question has to do with I want to ask that do they have scholarship for student with special need? And then
Yes.
okay.
I said under disabilities. There's
Yes, please.
specifically, yes. And that can be for complete 100% scholarship for the student and for the accommodations and for other necessities, whether clothes and different things like that.
Okay. Thank you so much. And
hello, I cannot hear you.
And my second question has to do with the scholarship. Do you have a special scholarship for that cover the tuition fee, the living expenses, and the traveling costs for ordinary students?
Well, that is, you see, some of these things you have to apply separately because you might have the university, when they give you an offer, they will give you their own scholarship. And then we talked about the funding that the government gives, this hardship fund for students, where you can now apply and specify you want the funding for those particular items. Whether it be your accommodation, your travel expenses. Most universities have the campuses and you live walking distance from the campus. So was there anything else?
Godfred, is that all?
Yes,
Godfred?
please, boss. Yes, please, boss.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much.
You're most welcome, Mr. Godfred.
All right, then. So at this point, we want to thank you so much, Madam Mercy, for your time being here with us, giving us detailed information on how a student can apply for scholarship or qualify them for scholarship abroad and how they can live and will be able to raise funds to sustain and to keep each and everyone abroad. We also want to thank every student who has been here with us this evening, and we want to thank good friends and loved ones of this platform that are here with us, both home and abroad. I can see Professor P.K. Richardson from the Manchester Business School, and also Dr. Marcia, you are here with us. Thank you so much for your time. So this platform connect with students in various university campuses. And what we're trying to do is to ensure that we create our presence in university campuses where we can reach out to students with the help that we can give as an organization. So next month on the 8th of February, we are officially launching the University of Ghana chapter. So we're using this opportunity to invite all of you who are here with us today. If you have the time, join us. We will be communicating the exact time that will be happening, the venue and all that with you next week, so we can all come together to support. The president is here. Godfred is the president of the University of Ghana chapter, and having a very strong committee there that is working. So we all come in to give in the support which is needed. There are some questions or contributions in the chat box, and I'm going to read them. Over here, I can see your name. It comes as a number. So what you're saying is, please, good evening. Please, what are some master's degree program in social work in Canada with full scholarship? So that again is question to you, Madam Mercy.
Okay, I will not be able to answer that immediately. I'll need to revert back.
Okay. All right. So I know a lot of you are asking if Madam Mercy should give her contact for you. So what we do is, if you are interested in what has been shared today, you reach out to us. reach out to the David Ddouglas leadership team through this number +233 243 393121. Our office location is at the World Trade Center opposite the National Theatre in Accra. You can visit us in the office and the team will sit with you to take you through all the necessary information that you need when it comes to scholarship. Now, Madam Mercy program is not the only program that the organization is running. And as I did mention, we also have the same program with the HBUCs, which are the Black community universities in the state. And they also offer scholarships, but those scholarships are based on conditions. And so if you are a student here who is looking forward to school abroad, study and live in abroad, then you will be able to, you have to contact us and we will be able to give you all the necessary information that you need. We will also be able to connect you with Madam Mercy if we clearly understand what exactly that you are looking for, and we know that that is within the frame of what she is doing. We will connect you directly to Madam Mercy for further discussions. Alf, can you please unmute yourself? I've made you co-host already. I don't know if I have. So can you please unmute yourself?
Sorry. Just a quick one. Thank you again, Madam Mercy. You said you're going live tomorrow with your website. Is that correct?
Yes, I think it's tomorrow. Yes.
Can you perchance release the URL?
So what's that, please?
The website address.
I wouldn't know. I'll forward it to Douglas.
Okay.
He can circulate it. Yes.
Just in case you knew it.
You put me on the spot.
It would save a lot of time and effort and stuff like that, because you put a lot of work and effort into it. So I was just trying to preempt the watching me call. I'm sure it's something called like something is going to be like Educate UK or .co.uk or something like that. Okay.
Yes.
All right then. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much, Alf. So there is a message in the chat box coming from Yusuf Ekumbrans, Abuja. Yusuf, are you connecting from Abuja? You say, has Musa called you yet? I believe you are talking to somebody particular. Mistakenly, you drop it in here. Okay, so this is how we have come to the end of tonight's session. And once again, we are so much grateful. Prof. PK, if you are here with us, I don't know if you want to add your voice. Can you please unmute yourself? Always your student will want to listen to you.
David, not yes, really. I am listening with interest. I'm sure a lot of people have benefited. And since Mercy says that people can still reach out to her, that is fine, because I'm sure there will be some specific issues that some people may raise with her, which may not be okay on the platform as we speak. So we thank her for opening her doors and saying that people could contact her. That is very nice. If anything comes up, I know people who may also be struggling. I will extend my hand to Mercy, and I'm sure she'll be willing to help. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you, David, for fixing this. Give me a ring when the session is over, David.
I will, Prof. Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you. We want to be grateful once again to our international partners who are here with us once again. Dr. Marsha Thomas, Shehu, also from Nigeria, who is our country rep in Nigeria. I can see you here. We want to say very much thank you for being here with us. This year, the organization will be coming up with a lot of programs and events. Those that pertain to youth programs, we will make sure that we get all the youth on board to benefit from all these opportunities that exist outside the country for us to leverage on. So be on the look. We'll be coming up with more of these opportunities for you so that you can connect with the networks that we have, be able to help those that we can help. So thank you all for your time. Next week, yes, we are meeting here again, and we have a speaker from Jamaica who will be speaking to us on the topic 5 keys to develop your effective personal leadership. 5 keys to develop your effective personal leadership. And I'm believing that all the students who are here with us today, you will join us next week, because this is very, very important. One of the things that we continue to say on this platform is personal development is very, very important. And if you are not able to develop yourself well, the world will not be ready to accept you. Because the only time the world will accept you is when they realize there is something valuable in you that they need. And that is when they can call you, and that is when the world can pay you. So we are doing everything possible to ensure that we bring you all the necessary tools that can help you to develop as an ethical leader, to personally develop yourself, so that you know the world out there can seek for your service. Just want to share this testimony with you, and I believe some of you here will know this gentleman. There is a gentleman from my village, and the first time that this gentleman will come to Accra is when he got admission to University of Ghana. Came to University of Ghana, school out, and then finished. His first employment was Nestle. The following month, this gentleman was taken to Australia, and as we speak, for the past 5 years now that he has completed school, he has been in Australia. Now, what is the learning point over here? He has managed to develop his personal leadership. He understands what it takes to develop yourself. He came from a village to Accra, Accra to Australia. You can imagine, they born some of us here in Accra. They born us here in Accra, and we are struggling to travel outside. But this is somebody who came from the village to university, and right after university to Australia. There is nowhere this gentleman cannot travel to today. So personal development is very, very important. When you take time to develop yourself, the world will call for you. You will not call for the world, but the world will call for you. On this note, we will draw the curtains of tonight's session, and we look forward to see all of you again next week. Thank you all for your time, and God bless you. Have a wonderful week. Next week, we meet again. Bye-bye. Okay. Okay, yeah, Yusuf. Okay. All right then. All right, so officially we are